The Trump administration started out the week by owning the media and controlling the narrative for the week when they posted about 100 yard signs with pictures of illegal aliens. And on those signs, they also listed the alleged crimes that they have committed in addition to being illegally in this country. And they posted those signs right on the White House lawn where the media films their coverage of the White House. So they're basically forced to show it and probably comment on it while it's in the background there. And they continued with this trend today. Stephen Miller came out and did a White House press briefing where he completely leveled the media. Let's go ahead and look at that and see for yourself what he said.
You talk about due process. The Biden administration made the decision to give extensive due process to two trained Nicaragua terrorists that were apprehended at the border just a couple years ago. They were two gentlemen. They were from Venezuela. They were members of trained Nicaragua. The Biden administration and Border Patrol apprehended them and made the decision to provide them with extensive due process, put them onto a program known as supervised release, and put them on ankle monitors so that they could go through a lengthy legal judicial determination as to whether these legal aliens who had just set foot on U.S. soil might want to live in the United States for the rest of their lives. What was the result of that decision? What was the result of that choice that was made? Those two men kidnapped a young girl named Jocelyn Ungary from her family. They beat her, they sexually assaulted her, they tortured her, they stripped her, they murdered her, and they dumped her body. That is what the Biden administration's policy was. Most of your papers never covered her story when it happened. To the extent that you covered it at all, it was because President Trump forced you to cover it by highlighting it repeatedly over and over again. He had to shame you into covering it. And each and every one of you that sides over and over again with these MS-13 terrorists, to the extent that you have the financial means to do so, you all choose to live in condos or homes or houses as far away from these kinds of gangbangers as you possibly can. If I offered any one of you a rent-free home with no taxes to pay in any of these gang neighborhoods, and I said your neighbors are MS-13 terrorists or Mexican mafia or Sinaloa cartel or trained Nicaragua, I couldn't pay you to live there. But yet you, with your coverage, are trying to force innocent Americans to have these people as their neighbors, and that one day their daughter may be abducted from their home and raped and murdered. So you're not going to get an ounce of sympathy from this administration or President Trump for the terrorists who've invaded our homes and our country.
So that's exactly right there. The wealthy liberal elites are more than happy to sacrifice the well-being of the poor in virtually every circumstance you can think of, whether it's this one, their safety, the people that live in these lower income areas, or the ability for blue collar people to go out and make a living, as we have huge mass migration that basically is going to undercut the earnings of blue collar workers all over the country. Democrats are more than happy to sacrifice the poor in virtually every circumstance you can think of, whether it be that or when it comes to energy costs also. Energy costs mainly affect the poor because if you're making $50K a year and you're paying an extra $5,000 a year for energy and food, that's absolutely suffocating to you. But, if you're one of these wealthy elites, that's just a drop in the bucket to you. And you're more than happy to sacrifice the poor in order to, save the planet because there's too many people on Earth anyway. So all these poor people just need to have less children and they'd probably be a lot happier anyways. And maybe then they could afford to live. And, it's also a net benefit to the elites too if the prices of labor goes down because they don't have to pay someone as much to come and clean their house and be their nanny or clean their pool for them. So it's all benefit to them. If you're enjoying this video so far, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel and share the video with your friends. That would be hugely helpful. Anyways, let's get back to the next clip I have of Stephen Miller today, absolutely demolishing the press. He's talking about, in this clip, Kamala Harris last night. She gave a speech and basically proved to the whole world just why we are so lucky not to have her as president, as she served up a healthy dose of the word salad and also made herself sound like a complete idiot. Let's hear more from Stephen Miller.
Well, I think it was a great reminder to the American people of just how blessed we all are that the leader sitting in the Oval Office today is President Donald Trump and not President Kamala Harris. It was a helpful reminder of just what a travesty and a tragedy that would have been. It would have been the end of America. And it gives me a chance to bring this whole thing home. If we continued on this road of radical regulation, choking off American energy, sending our supply chains to foreign countries, taxing our economy to death, pushing this cancerous woke ideology on our children, ending merit, ending scientific innovation, ending public safety, allowing, everyone goes to the stores these days, everything's locked up, criminals roam free, law-abiding citizens under the previous administration were punished while gangbangers were given red carpet treatment. Democrats, of course, are still giving gangbangers red carpet treatment. And then the border invasion. If those policies had continued, it would have been the end of the American Republic. And the only thing Americans want to hear from Kamala Harris is an apology for joining Joe Biden. And remember, she was the border czar. Joining Joe Biden in aiding and abetting the invasion of our country. And we're never going to stop talking about this because what they did to this country is unforgivable. It is an eternal stain on the Democrat Party. Every day we read another story. Every day we arrest another alien they let into this country who raped a child, who beat a woman within an inch of her life, who murdered a mom, who murdered a dad, who trafficked drugs into this country, who trafficked fentanyl into this country, who are responsible for dead and slaughtered Americans. And I don't know what's broken in the Washington press corps, that none of that moves them emotionally. The only thing that gets them exercised is, do we need to have more trials for terrorist supporters? We need to have more trials for gangbangers. We need to have more trials for illegal alien invaders, even though Congress and the Constitution clearly say that you can expel invaders and illegal aliens quickly, efficiently, and properly. This president has literally saved America, and I could not be prouder. I could not be prouder, as I know Caroline feels the same way, to come every single day to this building where we have a leader sitting in office whose first, last, and every thought is the safety, prosperity, security, and sovereignty of the citizens. That's an important word, people. Citizens of this republic. Thank you all.
This is something that never ceases to amaze me, is the Democrats and their co-conspirators in the media's ability to pick the worst individual in society to be their heroes. First, it was the patron saint George Floyd back in 2020 and his lengthy criminal record and being a drug addict. And then also that other man in Wisconsin that same year around the same time who was reaching into the car to grab a knife. And he had his lengthy criminal history and the police basically had to shoot him to stop him from grabbing the knife and stabbing them. And now they've got this El Salvadorian man who they're calling, the Maryland dad, and they're going down to El Salvador and demanding that he come back, and they're not going to leave until we bring him back. Like, if this is a hill that the Democrats want to die on, be my guest, go ahead and do it. The Trump administration is not going to give special privileges to gang members. This guy, he only had a stay on his deportation because their argument was, if we send him back, he's going to be at risk of violent crime from a rival gang. I'm sorry, but this administration is not going to give you special privileges as a gang member. And we're going to put American citizens first. This is the number one priority, as the Stephen Miller has said, of the Trump administration. So thank you. That's all I got for today. I'll see y'all next time.